Nobody in America been crazy enough to put a coffee shop and a pizza place under one roof, and that is where I am original, and that is where the dual brand under one roof concept is original in America. She was like, no, I have a really good story to bring to this podcast. So I'm like, okay.
That was right when he was like, you have a meeting right before the podcast, and I was like, I just want to let you know I'm prepared for this podcast, though. So, like, don't fire me before the podcast. I'm ready.
I got into business for caffeine distribution. I got into business to serve people through a drive-through window. Starbucks opened their first 5,000 stores without a drive-through before they realized they'd really missed the mark when it come to a drive-through. People think, oh, well, I need 50 or I need 100 to start a business. Well, if you think you need 50, you need 150. If you think you need 100, you need 200 to 300. Everybody severely underestimates your cash burn. You underestimate the amount of actual time and money you're going to need to actually get it off the ground in general. And we are back with another episode of the Julius Files. I am the host, Jason Julius. And today we are doing an off the rails, which means there's just no telling what's actually going to come out of this podcast episode, because off the rails is that me and myself and the co-host bring some type of random headline or topic up for discussion. And I don't know if, I don't have a phone on me, so I know what I'm talking about, and I don't even need to actually look at my phone. I'm going to reserve mine for last. This is if nothing else, I'm sure Matt will be able to chime in on what I'm bringing to the table. But yes,
am I going to space?
No, that's but you will definitely have some statements to make about my topic. Okay, so I've got a full crew here. I have my galactic demigoddess of research, Trish, and Mr. Master Blaster, Matt Bradshaw. And Miss Tori.
Just Tori.
I guess. I'm cool with the Miss Tori.
That doesn't work.
Yeah, but she's not a Mrs., so it applies.
Sometime I'm gonna grow up. Like, I know that y'all think I'm still like 12. I'm not.
I have watched you grow up into full woman, now, so I know that you're not.
Like, I don't know. Someday I'll get married, and then that won't work.
Yeah,
maybe I'll get married. I don't really know that to be a fact.
That's
don't say cheaper.
I don't know. You keep on with your crazy, you might never actually get to, but.
And we're 45 seconds in, and here we go. All right. What do you have to say? How do you feel? Just let them have
all right. So, no, we're going to go directly to Miss Tori, because as soon as she hit me earlier today, she said that I don't even know whether it was just like aggressive but I made a comment. She was like, I have a really good story to bring to this podcast. So I'm like, okay.
That was right when he was like, you have a meeting right before the podcast. And I was like, I just want to let you know I'm prepared for this podcast, though. So, like, don't fire me before the podcast. I'm ready. So my article came from a LinkedIn highlight. Y'all need to go check out LinkedIn. They have some good highlights. But it's actually talking about Starbucks is one of the very few companies that did not see a decrease in the quarterly sales this year. They chopped it up to iced and frozen drinks, though. And I feel like at Coffee Junkies, a lot of my job is steaming milk and making hot drinks. So I just think it's kind of interesting to see the opposite perspective of the shaken espresso, which is not really something we have, or like the cold foam, and just seeing that it's more than just a trend. It's more than just a fad.
That's not 1 quarter does not say anything about what is a trend. 1 quarter does not say
anything, but cold brew, that's been around for way more than 1 quarter. Same thing with their sweet foam, and their shaken espresso came out last fall, 2 falls ago, sometime, I don't know.
Yeah, but they don't have a chocolate covered cherry latte.
They don't. They don't even have the ingredients to make it, and I fully understand that. They don't have the sugar free.
Yeah, do they got a coconut meltdown?
They don't have the ultimate milk.
They don't have the ultimate. They can't do anything coconut. Like, I hear you. I'm just saying, I think it's just...
but I'm driving the point.
The tiramisu, that's what
I'm driving the point home that when I created Coffee Junkies, I looked at what Starbucks was doing. I looked at what the industry was doing. And one of the biggest pieces of disappointment that I saw in the industry was that everybody was trying to knock off Starbucks. The menus were Starbucks knockoffs. And I didn't get into business to compete with them to be a knockoff. My menu is different. What we do is different. So I'm not looking to, and they are the leader, but I don't follow the leader. I blaze my own trail. I mean, that's Coffee Junkies is not Starbucks. We do so many things that they don't do. And I'm not going to deny, obviously.
Covered bean.
Or our lemon shake-ups. We don't have the espresso shaken, but we got the lemon shake-ups for your kids.
But that's what I'm saying. They do not do sweet tea or unsweet tea fresh brewed. I mean, I guess they do do they do smoothies? Because
I don't drink Starbucks.
Oh, okay. Well, my point is,
we're not the group of people that ask.
No, but they do
let us know.
They do the refreshers, but I don't know if they actually do smoothies. And our smoothies are the bomb.
They are.
They don't do lemon shake-ups, much less frozen lemon shake-ups. They don't
drinks. I think you said sweet tea, but we have
never
Coke
mind
and
that's
the
what I was about to say. I carry Coke and Pepsi because I'm loyal to my customers, not to a brand like Coke or Pepsi. And I carry 40 flavors to be added to any one of those, with 20 of them in sugar-free, so that we can cater to the diabetics, Weight Watchers, and calorie counters. We're not like Starbucks. And obviously, they're not like us. Starbucks invested heavily in the third space. And much respect for Howard Schultz. I've read his books because he's thoroughly convinced that their third space is so strong that if they stop selling coffee, that they could still be profitable because people want to come congregate in that third space. Cool. I got into business for caffeine distribution. I got into business to serve people through a drive-through window. Starbucks opened their first 5,000 stores without a drive-through before they realized they'd really missed the mark when it come to a drive-through. We are different than them. Are we in the same industry? Yes, but they don't have a jump start or a white lightning because they're not trying to lead with a 20-ounce drink that's got 6 shots of espresso.
They don't have?
What?
A Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, but that right there is where we get into I have innovated in the coffee industry. I have innovated in the pizza industry, but ain't nobody in America been crazy enough to put a coffee shop and a pizza place under one roof. And that is where I am original. And that is where the dual brand under one roof concept is original in America, because nobody has tried or tested or tried to do what I have done. And I'm very proud of that. That's if I have a pride in what I've done, it's that I have survived the test of time. 9 out of 10 fail in the first year, and of the one that makes it, 9 out of 10 fail in the first 10 years. We are 17 years in. Technically, Coffee Junkie started in 2005. Pizza Junkies didn't start till 2014, and they weren't under one roof until 2015. But we are 2022. Huh?
What happened in 2015?
Oh.
Business of the year.
Technically, I think that was 2016. What? No, we did. Yeah, it was 2016.
I can't see it.
It was because we did it in 2015, and and it took us a year, and then we won Business of the Year in 2016 for the dual brand under one roof concept. And we would have been franchising for several years, but you know what? That the vid just kind of got in the way and screwed up the plans of everything. But let me tell you, when I got into business, my 5-year plan was 50 stores in 5 years. And I'm like, okay, that's where I will flat say you are a wantrepreneur in the beginning, because your delusions of grandeur has to be crushed, and you come out the other side of it before you can literally start calling yourself an entrepreneur. And that is just my opinion, but because I believe in general, true entrepreneurs they evaluate risk differently. The taking on risk affects them mentally and physically differently if you are a true entrepreneur. So I really don't want to put a time frame on it. But when the odds are so stacked against you that 99% fail in the first 10 years, like a veteran, successful entrepreneur, man, don't talk until you got 10 years in. And I'm just being real about it.
That's because of the stats.
Yeah, no, that's what I said, is that the simple fact is you have to go in knowing that if you're truly going to create something from nothing, 99% of the time you are going to fail in the first 10 years. The odds are stacked against you 7 ways to Sunday. You get into business and you do not know all of the ways that everything is stacked against you. I mean, for the first several years, I was trying to fly under the radar. I didn't want nobody to notice me because I knew, part of the ways that you can fail, piss off the wrong person. Somebody with a bigger bank account that just decides they're going to come out and crush you. And that's
their story is there too.
Yes. And there is just one of many ways to fail. And a lot of the failure comes where people think, oh, well, I need 50 or I need 100 to start a business. Well, if you think you need 50, you need 150. If you think you need 100, you need 200 to 300. Everybody severely underestimates your cash burn. You underestimate the amount of actual time and money you're going to need to actually get it off the ground in general. But going back to what Tori, I'm not mad at, I have not a bad word to say about Starbucks. I have a tremendous amount of respect for Howard Schultz, but let's be clear, even at the size that they're in, Howard Schultz has had to step back in 3 times to save their ass. And I'm not mad at him. If it wasn't for him, Starbucks wouldn't be what it is. But when they talk about what is the strength of a business, well, the strength of a business is being able to set up that business and walk away from that business and it continue on. And obviously, we're talking about he built the business up to billions of dollars. But reality is, every time he stepped away, they've called him right back because somebody else has tried to step in and fill those shoes and they just haven't been able to. And I don't know, I can't talk to you about what it takes to build $1 billion business. My expertise, my experience is based in small business. I can tell you how to scale from nothing to $1 million, and I can tell you how to do it multiple times. We do multi-million dollars a year, but I'm not, I know where my space is and where my expertise is and where I'm still a student and learning. I'm not doing 20, 30, 40, 50 million a year yet because I know in my brain, we are already $1 billion business and we are already a nationwide brand. I'm just bringing my mental picture and my brainchild to fruition. But today, all I can speak on from an expert perspective is small business and how to scale from nothing to something, how to eclipse that $1 million mark. And I'm very passionate about service-based small businesses. And those are the people that, I resonate with the underdogs. I want to help the underdogs. And that's part of why I'm doing this podcast, because I do have a lot to say about what it takes to actually get started and be different from your competition. Because trying to be a knockoff, no respect comes out of that. You don't have to be the first mover, but you do have to be different. There has to be a differentiation between you and your competitors if you're not going to look like you're just trying to knock off somebody else's shit. So I'm telling you, we're never going to go to Sweet Foam. We got whipped cream. We're never going to go to. I'm not. See, that's what I'm saying. You're saying
mayonnaise Miracle Whip. Here we go.
Oh, okay. Next.
As far as I know, the coffee, aren't they injecting nitrous into it?
There is such thing as a nitro brew. Yes.
Okay, yeah, no.
I'm not asking for that.
No. We ain't doing that. But I'm sitting there going, we do espresso, hot, iced, or frozen. We do highly caffeinated drinks, whether it be lattes, mochas, macchiatos, or real junkachinos or real cappuccinos. I pack a lot of caffeine into a 20-ounce cup, and I put it on my menu, and that's something that Starbucks has never actually done. And they're doing what they do well. Because I question the stupid things like, why would they not carry coconut? I would think coconut's a pretty popular flavor, but they've done their market research and they've decided that's just not a flavor they're going to carry. Cool. I got a half dozen drinks on my menu that lead with coconut. Mm-hmm. I'm being different.
And they're really good.
That's right. I'm willing
Embrace
to go
the
down.
Coconut. That's what you take away.
Yeah,
from.
I'm willing to go down a different path. And because of all of this, because of the coffee junkies and pizza junkies, I can sell you all of those drinks at 10 and 11 o'clock at night because the pizza place is open. A coffee shop cannot survive trying to be open at 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night.
Don't give them all the secrets.
No, but Water's warm, man. That's where after 17 years, I am not threatened by competition because I know the odds are stacked against anybody, even if they don't want to compete with me just by going into business. So I'm like, I'm not trying to crush anybody's dreams. Water's warm. You want to come in, fine. But I mean, as I've heard other people, I'm highly competitive. So if you're going to come in and compete with me, like, I mean, straight up, I'm not. There was another well-known coffee shop that thought that they were going to move into the Kokomo community and carve out their own piece of the pie. And they found out not happening. In Kokomo, it is Coffee Junkies and it is Starbucks. And I'm not giving up my piece of the pie, and I'm pretty sure Starbucks is not giving up their piece of the pie. So if you think you're actually going to come in here with a new brand and be able to carve out your piece of the pie profitably, well, I'm telling you, somebody already tried to do it once, and they didn't do it successfully. And I'm just sitting here saying I'm very competitive, and I'm continually innovating, and it is a point of pride because that's competition. And I am looking to take my brands into every community in America because I'm very confident we can carve out a profitable piece of the pie and take our market share in any market that we move into, because I did create something original, and it's something that is shown to be a very well received. Let's put it that way. So. Okay.
You're not going to go into the whole, and you can get your own franchise today by going to www.coffeejunkies.com.
Well, what about pizzajunkies.com?
It works there too.
It does. But
and Double J Brands, all of it.
We were talking about coffee.
Yeah, well, and don't get me wrong, because I mean, it really has turned into a whole ecosystem. But and again, I've had people being like, nobody's done that. No, I don't know anybody else that is, as a small business, put together the ecosystem of small businesses that collaborate with each other the way I have. But again, I'm no better or worse than anybody else, but I do know that I'm different. I know that I'm a little more intense than the average individual.
Intense, maybe a little crazy.
I'm passionate, man. And you know what? I'm stubborn as fuck. And we should talk about that. I mean, because that Tori, we started talking about this. Check that out.
Yeah. We can't see your microphone's in the way.
There we go.
Got it? You want to notice this piece of it right here. So I was going to call this my stubborn apparel line. And Tori's sitting there writing my LinkedIn profile, and she just automatically put it out as my AF apparel line. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't think of that, because every word that I'm putting together for this apparel line is about the AF. And I mean, I'm like, and trust me, by the time you guys hear this, I will already have all the domains secured. But because I need afapparel.com, afshirts.com, afhats.com. I mean, we're going to buy
Don't list all your secrets.
Yeah, we're going to buy some domain names. No, he knows.
Have it done before it's
no,
done.
that's what I was about to say. Before this airs, we're going to be sitting here and he's going to be like,
for 1 second on those domains.
Go ahead.
The Colts were, what was it? What's the show? Hard Knocks.
Okay.
Hard Knocks. I can't remember what player it is. I'm sorry. But he was talking about, he was like, he's saving all his money up because he's going to launch a barbecue joint. And he said the name, and I own all your domains. So.
And that right there is because he spent enough time around me that we were like, okay, well, if we have this domain, what are all of the domains that could potentially be dancing around this domain? Yep, let's buy those two.
Yeah. Well, yep. I mean, I have hundreds of domains.
Yeah, that's... And it's a real thing, because you want a life lesson story. Early on, I start Coffee Junkies. I get coffeejunkies.com. Well, in the first three, because I think it was the third year that I lost it, because I let the domain lapse. And there is a whole process that you go through to lapse. But the point is, there comes a certain point where, like, it goes back out on the open market, and there are, I don't want to call them predators, but there are people that look for domains that lapse, that have domain authority, and they are quick to snatch them up when they actually go back out there. So domain lapses, I call to try and get it back, and they're like, nope, somebody else has bought it. And I'm like, are you mother... So I contact them. Well, yeah, they were willing to sell me my domain back for $10,000. Well, as a small business, 3 years in, I'm like, well, fuck you. I don't got $10,000 to give you. Literally waited for 2 years, watching it and was on the phone with my domain expert waiting for the minute that this thing went back live. It took me almost 3 years because they paid for the 2 years to secure it. And then, like I said, like 2 years, it lapses. Well, in 30 days, it's still not on the open market. It takes a good several months after a lapse before it goes back on the open market to actually be purchased. But I literally had the agent on the line waiting for the minute that the thing actually went back out onto the open market, and I was able to re-secure coffeejunkies.com, and because I made I made one of those screw ups as a small business that when you're wearing all of these hats, shit slips through the cracks, and I lost it, and it was painful because I put a lot of thought into that and tried to line up and secure the domain and do everything right. But you know what? I mean, when you're in the midst of trying to run a business and trying to survive, it was just something that I missed.
You don't have a mat.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'm telling you right there, you talk about that. You got to have a Matt. You got to have a Brian. You got to have a Rebecca. And the simple fact is sometimes because you know what? Matt contributed to revenue at one point before he moved into the position that he's in, where he's not a revenue contributor, but on the overall, he is a revenue stabilizer and foundationally allowing for other people to be able to produce revenue. Rebecca the same way. Rebecca was part of the revenue generation. Brian never was. Brian came in so that, I mean, he was about keeping the book straight because my books and everything was a freaking mess before Brian. And that, again, another small business struggle in all of the ways that you can fail. It takes a Matt, a Rebecca, and a Brian in the background in order to make sure that you are keeping your foundation intact so that you can live to fight another day. And that's part of the profitability of a business, is that you have to be so profitable that you can have these people in the background to keep everything together. So it's not just about making a buck. It's not just about you making enough money to draw a paycheck for yourself. It's about making enough money to be able to employ these people that are in the background, or to go to companies and hire out those actual services. So it's not about just being a little bit profitable, because I don't believe in the race to the bottom. It's about you legitimately have to be profitable because you have to either pay individuals or pay for services in order to sustain the business over the long run to make it over that 10-year hump. And it's like the struggle is real. I mean, it really is. But okay,
we are way off the rails.
Yeah, no, we really did. We got way off the rails. We're at 20 minutes now, and we still got to. Okay, Trish, what do you got? What do you got to bring?
Let's talk about monkeypox.
Monkeypox?
So,
the second coming of AIDS.
Yes. So basically, they declared it a health emergency.
Where?
In the U.S.
Yes.
In the U.S.
6,600 Americans right now have monkeypox. It's opened up funding for emergency services and things like that. They're making available now for 80,000 tests per day. And right now there's 1.1 million vaccines available. But
man, I'm sitting here going, I still right there. You're making me cringe. I don't trust. I don't trust the government or the pharmaceutical industry, and I damn sure do not trust when they pull something out of their ass that has no research and development behind it. It's just, hey, trust us. No, I don't trust you. I trust you the same way we trust our Congress with a 10 or 11% trust or approval rating. So,
well, this isn't like smallpox. This is going to be less lethal. So to me, I feel like it's a very advanced version of chickenpox. If you ever had chickenpox?
No, I did. That was the whole
you got,
thing.
like the blisters and all that stuff.
As a kid, somebody had chickenpox.
Yeah.
All the other parents were like, hey, let me go get my kids.
It was a chickenpox party, just like these idiots were having COVID parties.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Which I still cool. Yeah, you should.
But monkeypox, that's weird.
It's really ugly.
But I mean, mortality wise, where are we out on mortality?
3 to 6%, I believe, is what it was, somewhere in that range.
That's
Substantial.
That's significant.
It's only transmitted from, they like to say, man-on-man contact.
See, I read that wasn't true and that it's in the air, though. Like, I read that it's like one of the don't try your clothes on because it's like a contact thing, not necessarily a...
That's why they're pushing for everybody to make sure like you wash your clothes now when you buy them from stores and stuff like that. because obviously it can stay on there, and then you're like, oh shit, this outfit's so cute, let me put it on, and then you're like, oh shit.
Well, I mean, okay, but what I mean, if you're talking
Maybe
about
it's-
this,
maybe it's
just out of that, I mean, for
It's
public
extended, long, close contact. For everything that I read, it was
symptoms.
You know.
Come on, I mean, like legit. If we're actually going to talk about
So,
this, so somebody's
yeah.
going to listen to this, like, what are the symptoms?
So like you'll get blisters, and they get really big. They're very painful. They actually have like little dimples in them. To
oh,
where-
like a little dimple, and
yeah.
okay.
And they can last for several days. There's no known like actual medication per se to really help you.
So
You
your
just
immune
gotta kinda
system is still
endure it.
capable of developing an immunity to it,
Well, you have to basically just go through and endure it for as
Okay.
long as it takes.
and like it,
like chickenpox or poison
the
ivy. Or
rash can be anywhere. So
Yeah.
like most people, it's on the skin.
I've
not
seen it on the
lethal.
insides of some
Yeah.
guys' lips.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Inside the
But it can
lips,
be
but I've seen a lot
on your
of arm
organs
pictures.
Yeah.
and stuff, and that's where it becomes
Yeah.
a problem.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you say organs, I'm like, okay, that would, if it's airborne, you would breathe it in, and
Well, he
It
said it
doesn't
was
matter.
like
It doesn't
contact.
matter how you get the contact. It's not like if you touch it right here, you're going to get the rash where you touch.
Right.
okay.
Once it's in you, you can get the rash
Anywhere.
anywhere.
Wow. I mean, don't get me wrong. They said, I mean, even before COVID hit, that I mean that the biological what was the next that you didn't have to worry about being nuked. I mean, you had to worry about what was going to be.
Well, I mean, shit.
I mean,
you can't
yeah.
wreck stuff any more than COVID. I mean,
No, COVID didn't wreck stuff. Decisions made on how to deal with COVID wreck stuff.
Fair.
which was COVID.
No, but I mean, again, you're not calling it what it is. This is decision making by governments, whether it be American
Via
or
COVID.
world governments. No, it just that's. Now we're talking about symptom. We're not talking about root cause fuckery. But okay,
This works out though.
yeah. So all right. So Matt, what do you got for us?
So we're going from one conspiracy to the head of conspiracies, good old Alex Jones.
Oh,
Okay.
Does it? All of you know who Alex Jones is?
I mean, I know who Alex Jones is. I don't subscribe to him because I know that he is a little bit of extreme, but I also know that
He's
the
had
dude's
some-
been right.
He has had some good. I mean, if you guess enough crazy shit, eventually some of them is correct.
Yeah.
He's in this lawsuit with Sandy Hook saying it was fake. The parents sued him. They're winning. But the the best part of what came out.
That's not true. When you say they're winning, I'm like, I don't know, but
well, because I'm going to tell you.
you're speculating?
No. It's
if
a guarantee now.
Okay.
His lawyers fucked up.
Okay.
And they copied his phone. Like he burned all his rest of his phones. And he had one phone, and they copied it. These dumb motherfuckers sent the entire copy to the prosecutors.
of the phone to the prosecutor.
Well, is that where your conspiracy comes in? Like, you don't do that shit by accident. You're talking about, I'm sure Alex Jones has high paid lawyers. You don't just, I accidentally. Seriously?
Seriously, like because they were in communication. Hit that with the judge, like the lawyers and the judge. So like,
I mean, I almost want to know who those dipshit lawyers are to know how to avoid them. I mean, like,
and they replied to the wrong email and replied all with the prosecutors.
Oh, my
included. Yeah. So then they got the text messages, which proved that he knew Sandy Hook was real, and he was just doing this because there was enough crazy people to believe Sandy Hook was fake. And he was just doing it for the views and the sponsorships and the money, and like the prosecutor just
all right there in the.
yeah.
Oh.
So like, yeah, I mean,
Everybody's fired.
go
So that's why we said
Yeah, you're fired. Everybody's fired.
from yesterday as great in court because the prosecutor's like, I don't think you understand what your people did. And he's like, I don't know what anybody does. He's like, oh,
Well, let me tell you.
He just like
So,
starts
yeah.
throwing up all these text messages proving that he's guilty. And then he's like, you haven't asked me how I got these yet. He's like, well, that was because your attorneys sent it to me when they shouldn't have.
Oh, my Lord. But, I mean, did they catch him in perjury or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, he's caught up in perjury. The judge laughed, was like, I don't even know how to
How do I even
do
respond?
this. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm sure today was another fun day in court for him.
I mean, I've got some things that I want to say, but I'm also not trying to plant any bad seeds. I don't need no bad juju coming to me. I'm like,
okay. For the sake of time, you said you had a good one.
oh my God. Okay. I mean, getting into to fame and personalities, and so there's an individual that just happened to come up on my TikTok here about a month ago, and it was funny that I mean, I'm like, that this dude is, as soon as I saw his TikTok, it was like, I saw some of the TikToks that, like, some of it, I'm like, oh, man, I resonate with this guy. I mean, because the dude's a man. I mean, like, he ain't no bitch. This dude is a man. And some of the stuff was like, ooh, I don't know how I feel about that. But so it was obvious, polarizing, which, again, you want to get attention on social media. You need to be have conviction in what you're saying, take some polarizing stances. You can't be middle of the road. You got to be on one side or the other. People are going to engage with that. That's how you actually get traction in social media in general. But then I noticed this one thing that I'm like, wait a minute. People are already copying this guy. And then a day later, I'm like, oh, damn, several people are copying this guy. And then a week later, it clicked in my head, and I was like, oh, that shit is so brilliant. That, because most of us, myself included, we have one account. And so we'll tell anybody, like, in any of these other accounts, like, they are imposter accounts. If they try and solicit you, don't believe them. We have one account. So that shit happens regularly. This guy went over the top the other direction. He created all of those accounts himself. The dude probably has 15, 20 different accounts. And I mean, what I'm laughing about is the timeline and how he set all of this stuff up. Like, this was all planned and masterfully executed. Within 30 days, this dude through TikTok, because I have not seen him on Instagram or anything on Facebook, has become the most famous and Googled man in the world in 30 days, all by creating multiple TikTok accounts and flooding the internet with so much content. You cannot miss this dude. And I'm telling Tori, I played Tori a TikTok, and I'm telling her about all this. And as soon as I'm like, this dude is the most Googled man, she goes, oh my God, I just Googled him. And I'm like,
he's telling me about this guy, and I was like, oh, I don't know who this is. Let me Google him. And then he's like, no, this mind-blowing stat. He's the most, I was like, oh.
So the reality is,
because he's a nobody, and everybody's trying to find out who he is.
The dude isn't nobody. Like I said, he's an entrepreneur. So Andrew Tate, like, dude, like, you've got my admiration. Like, it was a masterful plan. I got caught up into it. I watched you execute the entire thing. I thought that it was absolutely fucking brilliant. Now, because I will say, like, this dude is polarizing. Like, I play in the world of PG to R. This dude plays in the world of R to X. Like, most everything like, his stances, his statements, his thoughts are like, he's very strong conviction.
Controversial.
Yeah, Matt was like, oh, that's sexist. And again, it is like, this dude really believes in more of the traditional man and woman relationship. But I mean, a lot of his rationale, like, I completely agree with the rationale behind it, even if I don't agree with everything he makes in his statements in general. But that's not, I am forever in awe by people that I watch use the game as it is to their advantage, and to because the dude is a successful entrepreneur, but generally speaking, unknown to the world. And within 30 days, he took what most people go out of their way to be and get pissed off about being copied on the internet. Well, he saw that and he was like, you know what? I'll just take that weapon away from them. I'll copy myself. And it had to be a mental, well, if I copy myself so many times, ain't nobody going to be able to copy me. And being in podcasting and being in business and gathering up all of this different content and flooding TikTok across all the different channels. Like, it doesn't matter if he crosses the line in one of those channels, they might suppress that channel. Doesn't matter. The dude has already started 10, 15, 20 more channels. And when he comes out of nowhere, what does everybody do when you don't know who it is? So the world's most searched and famous man inside of 30 days, dude. Freaking hats off. I mean, like, and the thing is he's disgusted by America because the dude is a man, and what he's watched happen to America, because he said America is the least racist nation in the actual world. But he still thinks that we're the most fucked nation in the world because of all of our bullshit and fuckery that we've allowed to happen over the last several years. Like I said,
all years.
Well, what's that?
I said last all years.
Well, no, because I mean, again, he's the first one where he'll tell you like toxic masculinity, go fuck yourself. Like the dude like gives no fucks whatsoever. He has truly strong conviction, and there's no two ways about it. The guy is a successful entrepreneur. It's just like so many successful entrepreneurs, they really don't look to put together a personal brand. And I'm telling you, this dude put together one hell of a personal brand in world record-breaking frickin' time. And I got to admire that. I really, it doesn't matter whether I agree with his statements or not. I have to admire what I literally watched him do in such a short amount of time. I'm in awe by it because I know how hard it is. And I mean, I know how hard it is in social media in a world of noise and breaking through that noise and getting people to engage with you. Like, anybody can talk shit about doing it. It's fucking hard to do. And generally, the ones that do it well are plowing an enormous amount of money behind it. I was watching a video by Alex Hormozy, and he said in order for him and his wife to do what they do on social media, he's investing $70,000 a month to be able to do what he's doing in developing his personal brand. I mean, like, that's the kind of magnitude of money that we're talking about in order for you to truly establish omnipresence and develop a personal brand and become known out there in social media. And Andrew Tate did it with one freaking platform and did it in 30 days. And I mean, you just, like I said, you got to give credit where credit's due. And at least, like, I don't have to agree with everything, but Ben, I'll respect your game. I mean, like, hats off. So, yeah, I really figured you would have more to say because you have been a little bit.
Sure, you breathed during that.
No,
segment.
I mean, hey, like I said, I'm giving credit where credit's due. But every one of the videos I played for you, you've had something.
I mean, he's sexist.
You say that. I mean, in the 60s, you wouldn't say he was sexist.
Cool, we're not in the 60s.
No, I get that.
I mean, in the 1800s, they thought it was okay to own people. So,
okay. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I sort of say he's European. I don't know exactly what ethnicity he is.
He seems very angry. I'm going to guess German.
No. Because I mean, I do know that. I mean, he owns some casinos in Romania. So I mean,
Romania.
Yeah, you always forget about Romania slips in on you.
Well, I mean, I'm and all I'm saying is what I've learned by the TikToks, because I mean, I opened up TikTok and half the time this dude's on my my For You page, like, because he's got so many different platforms. One of them's gonna hit your fucking For You page.
The only time he's ever come across mine is when you said it to me. So.
Okay, well, I mean, I followed one of them and I did like a couple of his videos that I sent you that one. I
loved it,
and I knew that it'd make you laugh because straight up, this dude is like, you know, if somebody has to decide whether to be smart or strong, and he goes, and you know, I've got both, but I'm just saying, if you had to be smart or strong, I would choose strong, because if you think you're smart, you think you fucking know it all, and then you think that you don't have to be strong. I'll choose strong, because you know what? I will fuck you up.
And that's my favorite part.
Yeah, I know. And I mean, it was just,
I mean, the way he said it was funny.
It was. I mean, he hit the line.
So is this his
perfect.
Invitation to come on our podcast?
Oh, totally, man. I would totally interview this dude. That would be,
bro.
I mean, I know my little old podcast, I don't know if it would hit the mark. And like I said, he doesn't have a whole lot of love for Americans and American culture. And I'll tell you, one of the reasons why is because because
we support women.
No. Because the thing is the dude can legitimately defend his statements on how he feels about women and about relationships, and I agree with a good amount of what he's saying. But this was the bigger thing, is he was like, a white billionaire and a black billionaire, they don't talk about color. They talk about money. And the problem with America is it's the least racist country, but it's the most we talk about it. We won't let racism die. We just have to keep talking about it. We have to keep using it as a divide in our own country. So he's looking at it saying,
design.
yeah, it is by design. He sees it's by design, and he sees that we are eating ourselves up internally and then legitimately going, you are the least racist nation, but you're the most fucked because you won't quit talking about it because it is a political tool to create divide inside of this nation. So he's looking at us, shaking our head, going, you guys should be 10 times stronger, but you're too fucking stupid to get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And he's at least calling bullshit and calling it for what it is. And that's where I said, the vast majority of what this dude says, I'm like, I have to agree with the rationale. Some of the stuff that he says, I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, like you know, that's pretty hardcore. But I mean, hey, but when, much like Bradley, he will say things that it's shock and awe and it will catch you. But when you hear his rationale behind it, you're like, it makes sense. And that right there is a really, like, he's well thought out. There is intelligence behind it. And the statement might catch you, but if you listen to the rationale and the thought process, you're like, he's not just some fucking idiot caveman. Ugh, me man, you woman. I mean, no, I mean, so again, if you can articulate a thought process that actually makes sense, okay, you got my attention. All right, we are at 40 minutes, and we made our way around the table. So we are going to conclude this episode of the Julius Files and Off the Rails. And if you found it interesting, learned anything, or laughed in any way, shape, or form, you got to share the show with at least one person. And if you're coming back and listening to it, then I sincerely appreciate you. I thank you very much for tuning in. So until next time, you guys have a good night.